Hey guys, Brettman117, welcome back to the channel on my Studio Tour 2023. We're going to go all the way around the room today, showing you what's changed from 2022, what stayed the same, and what will be changing throughout the course of 2023. We'll start with the most boring bit over here, the desk. This is where I create the YouTube videos that you're watching now. Not all of the videos are created here. I do have a second set up at another location. Right now we're at my place of work where I keep all of my finished sets and so on. All of my building, or most of my building, and all my parts collection is now at my home. So I will do a video for that, but I'll release that at a later date. So down beside the desk we've got on the left there, we've got some boxes which are an eBay haul that I will be creating a video for that at a later date. And on the right hand side of the desk we have a load more boxes. This is just some Lego sets that need to be taken home where I keep my Lego collection. As we move off to the right of the desk, you'll see I've got some additional racking I've recently installed to allow for the new Infinite line of sets, as well as the Halo Universe line. As you can see, I've got some of the Halo Heroes, blind bags, and a number of other recently released sets. Now, everything on the main racking is also brand new in box. The only stuff that isn't brand new in box is the bottom shelf, which are open sets with completed sets inside of them that I need to still build to put out on display. In case you've missed my recent videos of brand new in box collection, you can see me go right through that, see everything that I do and don't have in my collection. I've also got this space behind the main racking, which is what I use for just various things, or mainly empty boxes. If ever I'm doing a big build like the Ultimate AA gun and I go through 10, 12, 14 sets of a particular set, I tend to keep the boxes and the instructions, so if ever I want to strip them down and move them on, I've still got the boxes and I can sell them as complete sets to future collectors or buyers. As we move around, we come to the first main feature of the room, the Ultimate AA gun diorama. This is still built at the moment, but it does sadden me to say that this will be being dismantled at some point this year for two reasons. One, I want to build a new large-scale mock on this space, and two, all of these parts, all of these foliage pieces, the base plates and everything, I used pretty much everything I had for this build. So if I want to create any small-scale dioramas using these parts, I'd have to take them directly from here anyway, so it just makes sense to strip all this down, get them back in their parts bins, and then I can build much more freely to create lots more new interesting content for you guys. You may have seen my recent Mega Ideas video where I created a custom build that I thought would make a nice line of sets if Mega were to produce them. I've got many more ideas to go along that line, and I'd just like to have all these pieces available to me. So yeah, sadly it will be being taken apart, so take one last look before it gets pulled apart. I will say I'm not planning on dismantling the actual AA gun at the moment. That's all modularized, that set. I can take that apart and store it on some of my shelves, just in case I want to use it for a future mock, possibly maybe a snowbound mock in the future. It will also give me the opportunity to get all these figures back to their rightful sets and displayed nicely on the other side of the room. So as I say, it will be difficult. It does make a very nice centerpiece to the room, but hopefully I'll be able to create something equally pleasing in the future. And then as you can see, the AA gun is actually based on these cube units which I set up last year, and I put lighting in them to display some of, not necessarily my favourite sets, just some sets that I had around and built and I just thought warranted being in a cube. As you can see in the first 4 cubes, I've showed this previously, I put the 10-year anniversary sets from Mega, which is the aerial ambush. We've got the Warthog in the second cube unit. And then lower down we've got the 20-in-1 Scorpion tank, and we've got the UNSC Marine set, which I'll also be adding to this cube here with the Series 10 Halo Heroes that Mega Chief Construx creator recently gave me. Moving on, we've got the Flood Hunters Falcon, which I think is an absolutely fantastic set, so I wanted that in there. And then we've got the second Wraith tank, which in my mind is one of the best builds. I love the colour and it just looks fantastic. Moving down below from there, we've got 2 empty cubes. One of these cubes will be taking the 20th anniversary figure pack, which I recently acquired. So as soon as I get a moment, I'll be inserting that into one of those cubes. Moving on, we've got one of the Flood sets, which the name escapes my mind, but again, an absolutely fantastic set. It comes with so many figures, plus it comes with the Ghost and the small section of Factory. So yeah, definitely one of the all-time best Flood sets for sure. and obviously looking forward to getting the new flood set this year. And then we've come to the drone outbreak set, I believe, which comes with George and another Spartan. Again, a really fantastic set. I really like these builds that are slightly different to the usual stuff that we get. It's a shame we don't see more of these sets, but hopefully in the future we will. And then we move on to the Smuggler Interceptor. Again, not everyone's cup of tea, but I really love this set, and I think it's because it's different. It comes with Agent Lock, and this set is seen in the Halo Nightfall series, which again was something that not a lot of people liked, but I still appreciate we got a set from it. And then in the lower blocks, we've got the Brute Chopper Raid, and we've got the Brute Prowler. A very old set, and then a not so old set. Same colours, I just felt they went well together. I am missing the cat figure from that Brute Chopper Raid. I'm sure it's around somewhere, I just didn't have it to hand. And as we move around the corner, we've got 4 additional cubes. And in the top cube, we've got the second version of the UNSC Elephant from Halo Wars, which is an absolutely fantastic set. Only just about fits in the cube, but as you can see, it does fit in there. We've got all the figures, all the weapons, and I just love having that sealed away, nicely dust-free, looking as pristine as the day as it came out the box. And then we've got the Warzone Wasp Strike, a difficult to get hold of set with 2 fantastic figures. I've never been keen on that blue canopy, but it is what it is, and the Wasp in itself is a very nice build. Moving on, we have the UNSC Scorpion Sting. Again, not everybody's favourite Scorpion, but very difficult to get new in box these days. Also comes with 3 fantastic figures. And then finally, we have the Warthog Resistance. Definitely one of the best Warthog sets they've released in my book. And the fact that it comes with that small Forerunner build just makes it even better. Love the ammo supply drop pod as well. As we move around to the fourth wall of the room, you see the main display shelves. Now, nothing is finalised here. This is where you're going to see the most changes this year. What I've done is I've just set this up and I've literally put some of the things that I've built or have built on these shelves just so they're not on the floor. It gives me an idea of the space I've got available, what it's going to look like, how big I want the shelves set apart. So eventually I do have more LED lighting for these shelves, and I hope to front them with Perspex at some point in the future as well to avoid having to clean them all the time. I can't stand dust. It just ruins building with really dusty bricks. It just takes away the charm of building with newer stuff. If you keep them dust free, it makes it a much more enjoyable process. So these smaller shelves are definitely going to be rearranged. I plan to use those shelves mainly for figures. I will be starting to display some of the many figures that I've collected over time. As you can see, we move on. This shelf is well lit, but it's just the actual lighting from the room that happens to be above this shelf. So this gives you a good idea of how well the shelves will be lit once I've got all of the LED lighting in, but I don't want to put the LED lighting in until I know exactly where I want the shelves, because I'll be drilling through the carcasses to get those LEDs in and out of each case. What you're looking at now is my custom build of the Warthog, which comes with the option of rocket launcher on the back or just the normal machine gun. And then we move on to my cursed vehicles. I did the Long Hog, the Hover Hog and the Diddy Hog. If you haven't seen those videos, they're definitely well worth a watch. They're just fun videos. I'd like to do some more at some point, but nothing planned at the immediate future. As we move on, we've just got the Pelicans, and again, they're just here because I didn't want them on the floor. I had them built. I'm a big fan of Pelicans, as you know, so I definitely always want them on display somehow. Nothing finalised. I'm just placing them there so I know I'm going to want to use one of these spaces for Pelicans. Moving on to another one of my custom builds, the Halo Wars 2 Banished Phantom, and if you want to see more on this build, you'll definitely want to visit my channel where you can see a full review video and some build videos too. And again, another example of how much better these sets look in the case when they've got direct lighting. As we move on down, we've got the Signature Series Spirit Dropship, which is an absolutely fantastic set. I know I've got it hanging here. This was just me trying something out. When I want to display these sets, I'm toying with the idea of creating miniature dioramas with sets that all go together, i.e. the Spirit Dropship as well as the Halo 5 Wraith Tank. I know that one in there isn't the Halo 5, I just haven't got around to building one yet, and I had that tank available, so I put it in there just so I know what I'm doing. And then onto another custom build, which is the glassing New Mombasa diorama, which I just can't bring myself to take apart. I really like that ship that I built, and also the cityscape. That cityscape used up a huge amount of valuable parts, which I only have so many of. So it's difficult because I'd quite like the parts to build something else, but at the same time, every time I look at this build, I just can't bring myself to take it apart. The clear blocks that the ship is on, they're not supposed to be there. It needs the clear rods that I'd had originally. I will put those back at some point. And then moving on, we've got another one of my ideas. I mentioned in a previous video I wanted to create an ultimate snowbound high base diorama where I'd create two huge snow base customs similar to the ones you see on either side of this unit here. And then obviously I could fill it with tanks and wraiths, all of the same era, just to finish off the diorama. So that's what that cube's about. And as we drop down, I've got one of my very early customs, which is a custom I built before the release of Halo Infinite to mainly display the new Infinite style Marines and how detailed they were. And again, I've got a review video on my channel talking more about this, as well as another theatrical trailer style video if you're interested in seeing this more. And it's also probably a good point now to bring up that I sadly will probably be taking this apart as well. Again, it's because I want to be able to use the parts for future builds. Unfortunately, I didn't create full instructions for this, so once it's gone, it's gone. But hey, it's building blocks. Worst case scenario, I'm sure I could build it again using these videos as instructions. And then moving on, we've just got some random sets again. So we've got the Frost Raven here, the Consano Cyclops Raid, and the most recent Hornet, aside from the one that we're due to get this year. And again, there's nothing going on here. It's just I really love the Frost Raven, so I want it out on display in some form. Whether I'll create a diorama box for this one, or whether I'll just display it with other Halo Wars 2 sets, I'm unsure at this point. And as we move on again, another custom build, which is the Traxxas Factory Flood set I built in anticipation to Mega actually releasing the official images of the set we're going to get. And again, as much as I love this build, it will be taken apart in the near future, so I can use those parts for future builds. After all, we are getting an official set, so why leave it in one piece? And as we move down onto the bottom shelves, you can see I have the Ultimate Pelican packed away. It's all able to be taken apart. I've got the wings at the back there, the engines off the back come off as well, so it's just easier for me to store it like this. It is a massive build. Having it out on display just isn't practical in a room of this size, and still being able to do other stuff in the room, unless it's literally sat right in the middle of the floor, and I just don't want that. And then next up, under this dust sheet, we have the Ultimate Assault on High Ground mock, which as you can see has been completely taken apart. It looks worse than it is. I could put that back together relatively easily, but I used all the terrain and base plates and everything for the Ultimate AA gun build. I also used the grid sections you can see that are missing from the catwalks just to the left of the screen here for the AA gun as well, so they'll have to be put back. It is my intention to use that base as a future Ultimate build. And then in the final bottom section of this cabinet, we have two old school Falcons. For no reason other than I was building them just in anticipation for the new Falcon to be released. And then finally we have the Jackrabbit. As we move on to the final cabinet, you can see it's almost completely empty, as this is where I intend to show off all of my Halo Heroes and blind bag figures that I have yet to open. When I do come to do that, I'll be sure to make a video and show you how it looks once I've done that. The only other things that I have on the shelf at the moment, as you can see, is the NMPD vehicles. I've got the Hornet, the Police Cruiser, and the Troop Hog. The only other vehicle there you might not recognise is my custom NMPD Interceptor that I built. And again, if you're interested in building one for yourself, there is a tutorial video on my channel. And that just about wraps up the studio tour for 2023. So if you've got any thoughts or comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. Don't forget to like, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.